You mentioned something to a friend, no search, no text, no Google, just words, out loud, in the air, and then, maybe an hour later, the ad appeared. So you did what everyone does, you told yourself it was a coincidence, but it kept happening. And you started wondering, is my phone actually listening to me? Here's the answer most people get wrong, from both sides. Your phone is not listening to you the way you think. But what it is doing is so much worse. This is override. You mentioned something to a friend, no search, no text, just words in the air, and then the ad appears. So let's start with what everyone believes. The popular theory goes like this: Facebook, Google, or some other tech giant is secretly activating your microphone, recording your conversations, and feeding that data to advertisers who then show you eerily relevant ads. It's a satisfying explanation, it feels true, and millions of people are convinced. There's just one problem. It almost certainly isn't happening. Think about the scale for a second. There are over 4 billion smartphone users on this planet. If Facebook were secretly recording conversations, they would be processing billions of hours of raw audio every single day, storing it, analyzing it, matching it to ad profiles in real time. The bandwidth alone would be detectable. Security researchers would have caught it years ago. And frankly, they don't need to do it. Because here's the part nobody talks about. The data they already have on you is more than enough. Your search history, your location, the apps you use, how long you stare at a post before scrolling past it, who you call, what you buy, where you go, who your friends are, and what they search for. Put all of that together, and an algorithm doesn't need to hear your conversation. It already knows what you're going to say before you say it. That's not a conspiracy theory, that's just very, very good data science. So if your phone isn't recording you, why does it feel like it is? The answer is psychology. Human beings are pattern matching machines. If you mention something out loud and then see a related ad, your brain logs it as evidence. It completely ignores the hundreds of ads that weren't relevant, because irrelevant ads are invisible to us. We only notice the hits, never the misses. And the targeting has become so precise, so strangely accurate, that even random coincidences feel like surveillance. But here's where the story gets complicated, because while the microphone conspiracy is probably a myth, the truth about what is actually happening to your data is not. See that small orange dot in the top corner of your iPhone screen? That's Apple telling you your microphone is active. Apple introduced this in iOS 14. Android added it in version 12. These indicators exist because regulators started asking uncomfortable questions about what apps were doing in the background. Which means before these indicators existed, nobody was telling you anything. Here's what actually happens every time you install an app. A permission dialog appears. It says something like, "This app would like access to your microphone." And you tap allow because you just want to use the app. What you may not realize is that in many cases, especially on older operating systems or with apps that have been granted always-on background access, that permission doesn't expire when you close the app. It stays active. And here's where it gets genuinely disturbing. Your phone's voice assistant, Siri, Google Assistant, Alexa, uses what's called passive wake word detection. This means the microphone is always on, locally, listening for a trigger phrase. Hey Siri, okay Google, Alexa. The companies say the audio never leaves your device until the wake word is detected. But here's what they admitted, and this part is documented. In 2025, Apple agreed to pay $95 million to settle a lawsuit. The claim that Siri had been unintentionally activated, triggered by words that sounded like "Hey Siri," and that brief audio snippets from those accidental activations were being reviewed by human contractors, real people, listening to clips of your conversations to improve accuracy. Apple denied wrongdoing. The settlement was reached before it went to trial. Amazon's Alexa faced nearly identical accusations. So did Google Assistant. None of them were found guilty in court, but none of them were fully cleared either. And here's the critical detail. You agreed to this, buried somewhere in the terms and conditions you never read. there's a clause that covers it. But the microphone is only one part of the story. There's a technology most people have never heard of called audio fingerprinting. It doesn't record your words. It doesn't care what you're saying. Instead, it uses your microphone to pick up ambient sound, the background noise in your environment, and match it to known audio signatures. The TV show playing in your living room, the radio station in the store you just walked into, the podcast playing through your car speakers. That data gets matched to a profile, your profile. Advertisers now know what you watch, where you shop, and what you listen to, without ever hearing a single word you say. This is legal. It's in the terms of service, and almost nobody knows it exists. Now let's talk about the apps on your phone that have no business touching your microphone. A flashlight app, a weather app, a casual game. Why would any of these need microphone access? They don't. But many of them request it anyway, and many people grant it without thinking. Once that permission is granted, what happens to that access depends entirely on the app developer. Some use it legitimately. Some sell the access to third-party data brokers. And some, particularly apps distributed outside of official stores, may use it for purposes that have nothing to do with the app's stated function. Data brokers are companies whose entire business model is buying and selling information about you. Your name, your address, your income estimate, your health conditions, inferred from your searches, your political leanings, your relationship status, your daily routine, built from your location data. This information is bought and sold thousands of times to advertisers, insurance companies, employers, and anyone else willing to pay. And you consented to all of it, in terms and conditions you didn't read, that nobody reads. Here's something most viewers don't know. In Europe, this is becoming illegal. The EU's General Data Protection Regulation, GDPR, requires companies to obtain genuine, informed consent before collecting this kind of data. And starting in August 2026, the EU AI Act adds an additional layer of requirements around transparency and data use. European regulators have fined Google over 4 billion euros, Meta over 1 billion, Amazon, TikTok, and dozens of others have faced penalties. The gap between what's legal in Europe and what's legal in the United States is enormous, and American users have almost no equivalent protection. Which brings us to the part of this video that actually matters. The damage from years of passive data collection may already be done. Your data is already out there, in broker databases, in advertiser profiles, in places you'll never find. But that doesn't mean you're powerless. There are 3 things you can do today that will materially reduce what gets collected going forward. Step 1. Audit your microphone permissions. On iPhone, go to Settings, then Privacy and Security, then Microphone. You'll see a list of every app that has access. Go through it. Ask yourself, does this app actually need my microphone to function? If the answer is no, revoke it. On Android, go to Settings, then Apps, select any app, then Permissions. Do this for every app that surprises you. A game, a shopping app, a utility. If it has microphone access and shouldn't, remove it. Step 2, disable your voice assistant. I know this feels extreme, but if you're not actively using Siri or Google Assistant by voice, there's no reason for it to be listening. On iPhone, go to Settings, then Siri and Search, then turn off Listen for Hey Siri. On Android, open the Google app, go to Settings, then Voice Match, then turn off Hey Google. You can re-enable it anytime, but while it's off, that always-on microphone goes dark. Step 3, protect what's already out there. Here's the uncomfortable truth. Even if you lock down every permission on your phone today, your data is already circulating. It's in breached databases from companies that were hacked. It's in broker files compiled over years. It's associated with your email address, your phone number, your home address. And that data gets used for identity theft, financial fraud, and targeted social engineering attacks. This is where most people do nothing, because it feels too large and abstract to address. Aura is one of the few services that actively monitors this for you. It scans the dark web, data broker sites, and breach databases for your personal information, and alerts you the moment something changes. If your data appears somewhere it shouldn't be, you know immediately, instead of finding out when it's too late. The link is in the description. It's the one concrete step you can take today that addresses the data that's already out there, not just what you collect going forward. So, is your phone listening to you? Technically, yes. Your microphone is active right now, waiting for a wake word. Apps you installed years ago may still have access, and ambient audio fingerprinting is happening in ways most people have never heard of. But the deeper truth is this. Your phone doesn't need to listen to your conversations, because everything else you do with it already tells the full story. Your searches, your location, your behavior, your network, your purchases. Surveillance isn't a bug in the system, it's the business model. And the first step to doing anything about it is knowing it's happening. This is Override. New video next week. If this changed how you think about your phone, share it with someone who needs to hear it.